Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole. I'm your host, Dr. J. Nicole. And today I am joined by my Howard sister, Jasalynne Northcross. And so today we're going to be focusing on burnout, breakdown, or breakthrough mental health wisdom for doctoral students. I had the honor and privilege of meeting Jazz at Howard University. And we've been able to keep in touch ever since. So I know that she's on her doctoral journey, and I just knew that she'd have some wisdom to share with you all today. So, welcome, Jazz, and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, thank you so much for the invitation. And yeah, we did. We met in 2015. I was a MSW student. Now I'm in my second year. I can't even believe I'm in the second year of this program. In the
You're
second year,
surviving.
surviving and thriving. Come on now.
Come on.
So I'm a second year PhD student in social work at Howard University. I am a licensed clinical social worker, licensed in DC. I don't have a practice, but I work at a private practice. I see individuals, I see couples. My specialty is sex and relationships. I love my specialty because it really allows me to work with so many different types of people, whether they're polyamorous, monogamous, queer, transgender. I get to meet so many different people and they're coming in to work with me. And then from there I was like, I need some more. We need some stuff. So I'm in school again and I'm just really excited to be doing that work and then to be here to talk about burnout with you today.
Yes, that in school again, that resonates with me. My family was like, I thought you were done. Like, you've been in school your whole life, right?
No, I get that too. I told my friend the other day, I was like, well, this is gonna be my last degree. And he was like, oh, okay. I'm like, no,
You say that,
this is
and then you're
different.
gonna be in somebody's certificate program, and we got to keep doing our CEUs anyway to stay current. So the
Yeah,
education always continues. Today's
absolutely.
episode is dedicated to Dr. Victor Kidd. He was a dear friend of mine. We met in the MSW program at Howard, finished together in 2015, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, he was involved in a pretty serious car accident a few months back and just a few days ago, he passed away after being in a coma. And Victor went on to get his PhD after completing his master's at the Howard University School of Social Work. And his wife is also an alum of the Howard University School of Social Work. So I thought it would be appropriate to dedicate today's episode to Victor's legacy and the doctoral journey. Now, let's take a quick moment of silence. Thank you. All right, Jazz. Well, let's get into it. Your doctoral journey. Now, I remember, I think had to be during homecoming, and you were
Mhm.
asking me about starting a PhD program. You remember that conversation?
Vaguely, and it's wild because I feel like a lot of people have a conversation, like a memory of me asking them. I think I asked for years and years before I really committed. I'm so serious.
Yeah. Well, I told you, I'm sure what I tell everyone else, like, what are you prepared to give up?
Mm,
Because
you did that.
this journey is no joke. It will require things out of you that you've never had to do. You could be like a super scholar,
Mhm.
and the doctoral journey can definitely challenge you, and then still trying to balance like you're working, you're practicing and all of that. So yeah. So how did you arrive at that? So you kind of got there, right? You said you asked for years and years. So what led you to pursue a doctorate at this stage of your life and career?
Okay, so yes, I asked for years. I don't think I told you this, but when I was an undergrad, I was actually a McNair scholar.
Okay.
Before Right. So when I got to undergrad, I didn't even know about grad school. I didn't know master's, PhD. I didn't know any of that. I learned a lot in school. I graduated undergrad in 2010. So this seed was planted a long time ago. When I got my master's degree, I thought I was done. I had my license. I was
Right.
working. I was doing the thing. Especially like with your clinical license, you kind of can write your own check in some ways. So I was working federal government. I didn't like it at all. There was a lot of things, but we gonna keep it cute.
Wasn't for
I'm
you.
grateful. It wasn't for me. Very grateful for those opportunities though, because I learned so much, whether I was in nonprofit or even like local government, federal government, constantly we're being pushed as social workers. So I did appreciate those experiences. But then I got to a point with, I think COVID, when we were quarantining, I did a lot of reflection and just what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do with my career? I do believe, in this profession, you become with gifts. And I always wanted to be a clinician and I was doing it, but it still just didn't feel like I was working, like, I guess, like, my purpose, it didn't feel aligned. I got really into human sexuality, which was something I think that seed was planted a long time ago too, if I'm being honest, but I started just realizing with social work, we can do
Yeah.
so many things, right? So when I was leaving my job, I was trying to figure out what's going to happen next. I started adjuncting, and when I was an adjunct lecturer, feel like you're a student in some ways because you have to prepare for lectures.
Yeah.
You're engaging with literature. I used to tell my family, I was like, when I give the students an assignment, they give it back to me. It's like getting homework. Now I have to read. I have to grade.
Yep.
And I love school. I was like, I love school. I miss this. I want to do something with this. School is a space where I feel like I get to be really creative. So I think the opportunity lined up. And now that we're talking, I think it was that homecoming because someone, I won't drop their name, but someone pulled me at that homecoming. It was like, so I think it might be time for you to come back. Like it's
That's funny. That sounds like you're not dropping names, but it sounds like Dean Crew to me.
close. A former dean, not crew,
Okay.
not crew.
Okay.
Dr. Snell.
Okay. Okay.
Dr.
That's my
Snell.
boo too. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's usually them, or it would have been like a Dean Whitaker. That's like, okay, so what are we doing? But
Totally.
that's their job to pay attention and
Mhm,
know who's who, and to keep the pipeline going and to identify these talents, right? Like, and keep the legacy going. We have to keep it going. How did you know? So you did the reflecting in COVID. Like, was there a
mhm,
particular like moment or thing, or it was just like, okay, I'm ready since
mhm.
you said the seed was planted.
Oh, I love that question. So, I think it's the same homecoming. So I'm at homecoming. See, how real we going? I'm gonna get real.
Yeah.
We're at homecoming. I had left. So let's see, homecoming's October. I had left that job, I think June or July. There was like a breakup somewhere in there. So that was already like, you're transitioning from like a full time. And now I'm at this practice where I'm not working 40 hours a week. I'm making my own schedule. Time is interesting because you have like all this like time and I'm not commuting. I'm not doing this. And then I get to homecoming. I see you. And I was like, ooh, let me get a little, let me see. And then,
Yeah.
of course, Dr. Snell. And it was just, it really was like timing. So when he said it to me, I kid you not, I was like, oh no, like, no, I had already said no to this dream. I let it go. I didn't think it was for me anymore. And I was like, no.
Hmm.
And then I got home and I was just a couple days after homecoming, I just was like, why not? I have time. Like when else in my life will I have the time? There's opportunity. I know what program I would want to go to. I'm already here. Where I had graduated in 2017. So I'd already been work and I couldn't find a reason to not do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, honest, it was a dream. It was a dream. Like you get the opportunity. So I went for it and
Yeah.
no regrets.
So why did you let it go or set it aside?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I'm
Okay.
like,
No,
why did you set it aside?
right,
Yeah.
right. I think it wasn't. I felt like parts of me felt like maybe it wasn't practical enough. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Before, like my bachelor's was psychology, or yeah, psychology. So I thought I wanted to do clinical psych, but I just didn't. There wasn't not a lot of representation, not a
Right.
lot of in like higher education that I had relationships with that were really pouring into me, encouraging me to feel like I could do it. And then I think I got comfortable. Like because I remember when I was in my second year, no, yeah, when I was second year of my MSW program, Dr. Howard, Teresa?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Because I
I
always would
talked to
call
her.
her Teresa. Yeah.
Oh, right, right,
Before
right. I
before
know.
because we were peers before
For
she
sure.
became
Exactly.
Dr. Howard. Yeah.
Dr. Howard never really peers because she was a TA for my research
Right.
class. So she was Miss Howard and then she elevated to Dr. Howard.
Mm,
I remember me and her went to Potbelly once, and I was asking her, like, "Tell me about the PhD program. Should I do?" I think I just maybe a little imposter. I don't know. But once I finished school, I convinced myself that I didn't want to do it. Like once I got my master's degree, I convinced myself somewhere along the way, I convinced myself I didn't want to do it. I think I was ready to start making money.
of
I wanted to get my
course.
come on now. I wanted to get my clinical license, and I just felt like, "This is good," until it wasn't.
until it
Like,
wasn't.
until it wasn't.
I just feel like those are those nudges because even though you said you had set it aside, there was this it just
Mhm,
kept circling back. You kept asking the questions of people,
mm,
and because, like you said, the seed had already been planted, so the curiosity was there, and just working through that because, less than 2% of the population have doctorates. And so it's like, who do I think I am? Right. And even I was
totally.
in the program and I was like, why am I doing this? Like almost every week, I was ready to quit. I had a letter signed because I was like, this is too much
No
emotionally
way.
until I realized it was me. I was putting this
Mhm,
ridiculous pressure on myself.
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
once I kind of did that and I shifted out of this like rigid perfectionist mode and learned to breathe and I guess got through my stats courses, then I was
Girl,
I was able to be okay. Cause me and Doctor Abu Bader, Lord
I
have
knew you were about
mercy.
to say that name. What does that mean? Cut the tape. Cut the tape. I
Girl,
just took that class. Yeah, I made it. I survived.
yes. And you know what I
Yeah,
realized later once, like, there was enough distance between me and it because I had PTSD, I feel like, for a little minute
that's a real
after
thing.
stats, and then I was doing my dissertation, I said, "Oh, I actually know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing."
He gets you ready. His method. We can talk about the method, but you're yeah, he gets you ready. He
By
gets you
far the
ready.
hardest courses. And it wasn't even my dissertation. I was doing something else because it was so bad. I did qualitative and I did interviews. My average
That
duration for an interview was 90 minutes. So that took a long time with those transcripts and
it
all of that. And I was like, I should have done quantitative, but
really? I think I'm gonna go qual, but you
if you
really?
wanna get out fast and still be thorough, do quantitative. You know how to do the write-ups, those 20-page write-ups that we used to do all the time for homework
We have to
that you
yes,
just finished
right,
doing?
right.
You're ready.
Imma think about it. Imma
Really,
think. Let
truly.
me
We can talk more
my
about that.
mentor we'll talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk. We'll talk offline. My mentor's push not I don't wanna say push, but he's definitely like, "Look at quant." I think I still wanna look at it, but I'm such a qual girly. But I hear
Same,
you. I
but
hear
it's gonna take you longer. Just know that. Like, I love what I came out with, but I would have been out years sooner.
understood,
But
understood,
my
understood.
journey is what it needed to be. So we kind of are talking about some of the things, right? Like the demands of it, but like, what would you say are the most emotionally demanding aspects of the doctoral journey?
Okay, I love this question. There's so many things. The first It's so interesting because I had an idea of how I want to approach this, but I'm pivoting a bit because immediately I come up thinking my kind of immediate response is around the demands and it's the pace. The pacing of things is so intense. And it's I remember when I finished year 1, it took me a few weeks to slow down a bit to get into the summer. It still wasn't like a break, but I felt like I
Hmm.
was running. And you know when you're like sprinting, and then you get through the finish line, but you still have to like slow down a little bit? That is how I felt. I think just fatigue, and then if depending on what the financial situation is like, I work in private practice, so summertime folks feel happy. They're in the sun, they have
Right.
vacations, things slow down, and then when you know that you're in school and I'm not able to earn as much as I was earning when I wasn't in school, so there's just we capitalism is real. So we have these financial pressures, and then for me, I can if I'm not mindful of what's happening, just how I feel, like sometimes my self-talk can get more like pessimistic,
Hmm.
more critical, or so it's just sometimes for me I need to slow down and kind of look at the bigger picture. It's just like, okay, I'm doing this really huge task. Every step I'm taking is getting me closer and closer to dissertation, trying to celebrate the small wins, try
Yes.
to offset some of that.
Yeah.
Because we're you're just trugging along. There's like you're in this tunnel there you hear there's light at the end of it, but I don't even know how to get out of this thing sometimes.
Listen, because the way no one's hyped about your dissertation proposal until you really have something for
Mhm.
them to look at, like, it
Mhm.
and it's very different, like, yep, you just gotta truck along. Yep,
You have to
you
chug
just gotta
along.
truck along.
I'll drop this. Okay. I'll drop this. Hopefully, it's okay if we go here. So
Sure.
my mom runs marathons, and I grew up raised by a woman who just runs. So it's like as we were getting ready for school, a lot of marathon talk and analogies and things were
Okay.
coming up. If you know about like distance running, although I'm not a distance runner, I do feel like this is my
For sure.
marathon.
For sure. For sure. So yeah, you're right. That marathon, that's correct. But it's interesting though, because sometimes you have to sprint within the marathon in the doctoral
Right.
journey,
Right.
like for real. And you're expected to pace yourself and speak up and say what you need and what
Mhm.
you don't. And like I know even for me, I was experiencing a lot of losses. And so grief was happening while I
Yeah.
was in my PhD program. And I actually had to slow down my pace. That is nothing I
Mhm.
ever had to do academically in my life. Because
Mhm.
school, I did that. Right. And
You
I'm sorry.
I can speak sorry, I said you did. Sorry for cutting you off. I'm so
You
sorry for
okay?
cutting in, but I hear this, because my perspective of you is my like, I don't know how we met. I genuinely do not know. I feel like when you were in the program, you were around. Like, you were always on it. You were just on it. So when I hear you say this, I'm like, "Yeah, I believe," and I never even had a class with you, but your light in our program, like, I remember you were the president, you were on it, you had a way of, like I felt like we knew each other, but I'm like, "I don't know this lady." It's just open homegrown energy, but to be able to balance that, to be approachable, have homegrown energy, to have the leadership position, to excel academically. So hearing you say, like, even for you, you need to slow down, like, that's very humanizing. That really hits. It really hits.
Yeah. Like that was one of the things that I feel like is a gift that I have. I don't look like what I'm going through. And
Mm,
also it's I would say confirmation that, I was where I needed to be. Like I worked in higher ed before, so I love doing like things involving people, organizations, all of those things. So those
mm,
give me energy to like
mm,
do more. But thank you for that. And I remember one of my colleagues in my cohort and she called me superwoman. And I was like, please don't. Like, I'm tired. You know what I mean? It's
mhm,
what it ended up being. Cause she was like, "I don't know how you do it all." I was like, "I mean, I don't either, but some of it felt like I needed to because that gave me something to do to get up, put the battery in my back. Cause if I had nothing to
right.
do, I don't know." But and at that point too, I was already in it. So I had to like, get through it as
Mhm,
best as I could. But so in the
mhm,
doc program, I had to have difficult conversations with so Dean Crew was my advisor. That's enough pressure. At
mhm,
that time, Dr. Patricia Bent Goodley was the program director,
uh-huh.
also kind of a big
Right.
deal.
Totally a big deal.
So I had to talk with them about what class I was gonna drop
Mm,
because I didn't think it was gonna be sustainable to stay in the course that I was going, and I'm like, "I have to drop something because I felt like I was falling apart, and I was so worried about disappointing them, right? I was like,
mhm,
"These are the women you wanna be," right? And do you know all of and I talked to Dr. Gordine, I think she was in this too, and that's another pillar right there. And that was a
totally.
big loss for School of Social Work too
Huge.
when she transitioned. But I had to have these conversations with them and they were so supportive. Like I was in
Mhm,
there ready to cry and just think they were gonna think I was awful. Like, that negative self-talk that you're talking about.
mhm,
But it was so supportive, and they were like, "Well, we gotta do what we gotta do. The point is that you finish," and it was so affirming, and of course, it's a social work program, but I still had never had to have any type of conversation like that, like,
mhm,
for real. So that was
mhm.
just so hard for me, and then I think the way that I was perceived being a leader and
Right.
I was the Mordecai Wyatt Johnson Scholar one of the years as well, and so just, that it was a thing, and I had that was good for me because it taught me it's about finishing, it's not timeline, it really helped challenge that comparison, and,
Mhm,
academically, you it's supposed the same people to your right and left the entire time is how it's supposed to be. But this journey, the doctoral journey, is deeply intimate.
Mhm.
Deeply
Mhm.
intimate. I could keep going on that, but we'll
You
proceed.
preaching.
Right. Listen, it's a thing. And what ways did you experience or did this experience challenge like you as a professional and a person? So you talked a little bit about balance, but yeah.
So, person, I'm not used to, although in the MSW program, our classes are pretty small, but
Hmm.
nowhere near as small as your doctoral cohort. I'm very much the kind of student that likes to kind of get in early, kind of get my seat in the front, kind of do my thing, head down, get what I need to go, get what I need to do, and kind of go on. The collaboration part of things, and sometimes it's not even we're not even collaborating on assignments, but it's just like the behind the scenes collaboration, coordination. Sometimes that requires me to step out of my comfort zone a bit, or sometimes when there's like interpersonal things, it's like, what is my role in the situation? I don't think I could like bury my head in the sand like I did when I was one of 20. Now I'm one of four. So it's like there's no hiding. Something's going on, whether you're directly in it or not, you're in it. So just that is has been a personal challenge. I also didn't have the best sleep hygiene because I was really used to kind of just like I got time. I take my appointments when I want to take them. I schedule my work. I made my work schedule around like myself. But now it's like, oh, I'm back in class. Like Howard don't care when my best waking moment is. They say you need to be here at 10 and you're gonna be here all day. So I'm
Yes.
just coursework, you're there all day on campus. And you know what room it is because we're all in the same room.
And
So
every
just
seat is a front row seat.
every seat, yeah, every seat is a front row seat. So just that getting back in a student mode, the timepiece, thinking through. I'm so good with just I like building little systems and keeping myself on track with things, but it's also more than just school. Like it's not, the PhD is so different than any other type of like academic experience I've had. So it's pushed me. I'm not even I think I'm proud of how I've been managing to this point. And I don't know if this is some of the some anxiety. I don't know if this is some hypervigilance perhaps, but I never get I don't get too comfortable. I know that
Mhm.
just because this week was cool, that don't mean that next week is gonna be cool. Um, it's challenged me to accept stress. That was something I was telling my so I got into a relationship over summer, and for my boyfriend, he was a little, I guess, like a little worried, like how could I manage a relationship and school? And I was just like, and he's very much like, I don't want my baby to stress. I want to, if it's a stressor, I want to eliminate the stress. And I'm like, we got to accept that there's going to be stress. It's
Life is
just
stress,
life
right?
stressful. And for me, just I think what I'm one of the things I've set kind of on my mind last semester, which I think was really helpful, was allowing myself to be okay with a level of stress and being aware of like if it's getting too much, what do I need to do? But like some stress is gonna happen, and that's not a reflection on like me as a scholar or
Mm-mm.
my fit in the program, or it's just this is life, and I happen to be, a good doctoral student who wants to do the best, as most of us, we want to be the best. We want to be, and just,
And
that's
that
gonna add
best
a little stress.
word is what causes so much pressure sometimes for doc students, but
Huh?
it's the high performers, right? Like high achievers that go into
Mhm.
doc programs. And
Totally.
so like the stress, the balance, all of that is it's a thing. And a lot of times it's coming from us. It's coming from internal, right? But
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
respect the faculty so much and like you got it, the cohort sizes are so small. My cohort, we started with 5. By week 2, it was 3 of us.
Whoa.
And then I I need to follow up with somebody. One, then she had already started her dissertation. So she left because something wasn't working for her. She went on, she finished hers at a different university. And then the other, I don't quite know what happened to him because I was minding my business because life had started lifing.
I, I understand. I
And he
understand.
hasn't told me that he finished. You know what? I need to check up on my people. But
Mhm.
it just kept dwindling. And so when I slowed down, I fell into a class of sequence with the cohort behind me. So I was with Katie and Barbara. Because Barbara used to get in and go to class and then go get her money because she was practicing as well.
Understood. Understood. I get it. We are here and then we're gone. I gotta get down the
Yeah.
street. Appointments.
And she was adjuncting too. Yep, at Howard. So like the MSW students, when she and I, we walked together. Because Katie got in and out of there in like
She
four
was quick.
years. She did not
Yeah, she
play
was quick.
games. Katie was not playing. But it was just really cute to see the students calling her, professor and doctor, because I hadn't started adjuncting, but I started right after I finished. But so speaking of that,
Cool.
how did being a licensed therapist shape or complicate your
Mm.
experience as a doc student? So you're kind of getting at some of this, but was there
Yeah,
any
yeah, no,
more on that you wanted to elaborate?
I love this question. I think so when I did my MSW, I was on the clinical track, didn't take a ton of macro courses. And then, now we do our seminars. So you start with like pro sem individuals. I was like, I'm not gonna say it was a breeze, but I was like, oh, we're speaking my language. Like theories, applying them to individual. I do it, baby, I could do this with one hand behind my back. Then we get into groups, and I'm like, well, I do couples. I feel like couples kind of a group, so I can understand. And then I just did communities and organizations. I was like, day one in the class, I'm like, now what is Dr. Hussein talking about?
Oh,
What is
Dr. Hussein was teaching.
that? He teaches us. Yeah, he
He was still
teaches.
just doing strictly MSW. Communities,
Mm-mm,
we had Dr. Ross Sharif, she retired. So it was like her
mm,
and Dean Crew were kind of sharing it because she was
mm.
transitioning out. So I had a different experience, but I had Dr. Hussein for displaced populations.
I've heard that class is really good.
It's a
I've heard
good
that class
class
is
and you work because it's Dr. Hussein.
it's
You
yeah, he
work.
gonna work. Appreciate it though. I mean, I only hear people appreciate it, but it is a lot of work now.
Hmm.
Um, I could tell you though, the so to your thing about being a licensed therapist, it I guess it's a challenge, but it's also been an opportunity because I've pushed more. And when I think, they talk about like the unit of analysis. And now I'm like, well, I always thought I was just going to be interviewing. I thought I was going to do a good little qualitative dissertation, interview some people. But now I'm like, well, I don't know if that's what I want to do. Do I want to look at an organization? Like, I like playing around with these things. I've been looking a lot of like media lately. I've taken some classes in communication because I'm looking at sexual communication and black queer relationships. And I really want to
Oh,
understand. And I'm also really interested in, like, power, and I wanna know, like, how are we sharing power in our relationships
yeah.
and media influences things in, like, the ecosystem, so I get I and now I'm like, "Well, maybe I wanna look at a community, maybe I wanna look at an organization." Like, so it's it's challenged me, but like I said, I really appreciate it. It's about somewhat getting out of your comfort zone, and I do appreciate that, but then sometimes depending on, I live in DC. This year has been really tough. We can put a period at that, but it's been
Yeah.
really tough listening to this administration and then my client so in DC. So I love being a therapist, but I can tell you there's times where being a therapist feels less heavy. And then there's times where it's just like, all right, I really need to do something with this energy. I need to do something with what I'm getting from people because when they're doing mass layoffs, when they're talking about ICE in our community, like I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it in the therapeutic space. And then it's like, oh, I still got to go do something for Dr. Sane, or I have this exam coming up. So just, I think I see myself as my student as a student, that's my job. As a clinician, that's my job. And these are both very emotional and very like cognitive, like a lot of focus, a lot of thinking. So it can be very exhausting and draining and also really rewarding.
Yeah.
It's all, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-care and just like self-awareness that's involved. And one
Hmm.
thing I do always remember hearing them say is that we should have therapists. If you're a therapist,
Hmm.
you need a therapist. That was that was pushed on us a lot, right? Like in a healthy
Totally.
way, recommended. I won't say pushed on us, but promoted. It's promoted very
Totally.
heavily. And you could have some fun. So once I'd like seen more dissertations and things later, I was like, I might have done it differently because you could do like a contextual analysis and like if it's like a particular like I know someone who they base their dissertation on Insecure and they like analyze Molly's character through a particular season. And I was like, that's so dope.
That's super
Like, it would have
no, that's
never occurred to me. Like, I could just watch TV and do
mhm.
this. And as much as I was watching reality TV and would be analyzing the relationships anyway, could have
Same.
been so much
Same,
fun.
same, same,
So
same.
that's an idea for you. If there's like a show that you like that shows some of these dynamics or a particular character, or
Mhm.
I say a character, but if it's a reality show, it's a person. But you know what I'm
It was a
saying? A
person.
personality.
Yeah,
If there's a
a
particular
personality
person,
so it's
right,
like, follow the portrayal of this character in this show and honor
right.
that they're a human.
And that's why I shifted to personality, right?
No, I'm following.
But, like, yeah, if there's someone you're interested in, like, you could do so many things. Like, now that I'm on the other side and my brain has recovered, your brain is gonna be different when you get out of this. It is different for sure, and you see things differently. Like, everything is a study, but, like, in a fun
Mhm,
way. It can become fun, but I
mhm.
haven't taken the time to, like, write a bunch of articles and that sort of thing. I've not gone that route,
It's
but easily I could. Cause
mhm.
I get ideas about stuff, but also you're just getting started and you're saying you're having all these different ideas. Just write those things down because these are studies you can
Yeah,
do later, depending on like what
yeah.
you really want to do. And some beautiful things may come out of it. And I'll say this: a lot of people think that their dissertation has to be like the best thing they're ever gonna write.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not. You're just getting started. That's just like if you go back and read your first papers when you enter the master's program, when you're leaving, you're like, I wrote this. Or like even in undergrad, you just go back and read old
Right.
essays and stuff. It's just like, I thought this was good. So
And it's so helpful. Actually, I think I heard you say I think it was when you had Khalil on your show, Dr. Green,
uh-huh.
because that's someone, respect to Dr. Green, but he was in my cohort, so Khalil. But I think you said it in that episode about like at some point when you were working on your dissertation, you were just like, I could write a paper. Like I just like let me lock
Yes,
in and like yeah,
it's
that
just the
that stood
paper.
out. It's just a paper. It's also been helpful to read dissertations, so I'm not reading as many as I would like, but
Girl,
I
how's there
appreciate what I'm doing.
time?
I appreciate that I when I'm able to do it, I will skim through a little dissertation, and it's helpful to see how people organize things differently, seeing different dissertations that are similar to my topic and looking at like, the theories they use or like the approach. I love it. I'm just like, it is really helpful. Some people are really creative. So the
Yeah,
insecure thing, that sounds super cool. I'm looking at like critical discourse analysis and like critical methods, just certain things because I do want to expand like my understand just like my knowledge of different ways to do your methods or I guess more so like methodology so that I'm getting too technical. But my point is I want to be I want to get it done and I want it to be okay with how just get it done. I'm not trying to be here forever, but I also like the idea of being creative with it and
and
putting my own spin.
that's why they say quantitative. You want to get done. As I was told, a piece of very sage advice: the best dissertation is a completed one.
Amen. Amen.
You'll live to write another article. You'll live to write another paper, but we want to get you done.
I
Um,
receive.
yes, seriously. Okay, so getting to it, right? Like, how do you define
Mhm.
burnout? And then specific to like doctoral or the advanced academic settings.
Mhm, mhm. So, of course, the first thing comes to mind is, like, the textbook, like, what they like, and they tell you in your training, like, the difference between burnout, compassion, fatigue. I appreciate this spin on it, though, kinda grounding it in doctoral education. I said earlier, like, I realized I love school, and that's what got me here. When I talk to my peers, they have similar stories, like, no matter where they were in life, there's that common, "I love to learn, I love school, I wanna do this." Signs that we're getting into burnout, like that lack of interest, that this isn't kind of the, what's the word, like cynicism about it,
Uh-huh.
sleep issues, things where it's like putting things off, you know? Now, we might procrastinate a bit. Some of us like to work under the pressure, but you gotta be real. You gotta know yourself. Like, is
Yep.
this your regular kind of procrastination or are the tasks really stacking up and I could care less. Like, I don't wanna look at this. I don't wanna I'm the type of person I'm logged into Outlook so I can see my emails. Am I logged in or did I log out? Like where like where am I? Real. I gotta keep. I took, you remember Dr. Harris? She used to talk about signs and
Yes.
symptoms. Yeah, sign for me is that Outlook inbox isn't getting looked at.
Woo. Or you scan for particular names. If anything,
Mhm.
like, is there anything that's dire, pressing? Okay, any of this, that's a thing for future me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is so fun. She said the signs and symptoms. You took me back to Dr. Harris.
She
Man,
she signs and symptoms. Duration matters. Duration matters.
that's the key. Duration matters. Absolutely. See, you see how the nuggets, the wisdom that
So good.
are, they kind of stick with us. So I think you did a good
Mhm.
job with that, right? And everybody's a little bit different. It could be like irritability is super high, their
Mhm.
productivity and creativity, their outputs and things like that goes down. It could also look like appetite being an issue as well. It could show up as
Mhm.
breakdown in their relationships and neglecting those
Totally.
relationships and anxiety as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
because you might be being pulled from so many directions or trying to split yourself for all the hats you wear, which is why when we had that conversation, when you were asking me about doing a doc program, I said, well, what are you willing to give up?
Mhm.
Because you can't be 100%
Not
every
everything.
single seat. You can't, not at this one. Like, the doctoral journey demands that it is the spouse primary.
Facts. No, big facts. Health is something else too.
Yep.
Um, of course, with these things we're talking about compound, it could definitely impact your health. And I think it's so I tell when Dr. Lou invited me to speak to the incoming class, and that was one of the things get on top of your health. Like see your provide if you're able to get to a doctor, see providers, get your lab work, think about like rituals are so important to me. So it's like, what are the daily things that
Yep.
kind of help you just connect with yourself? Is that prayer? Is it something around ancestor veneration? Is it your exercise routine? Is it like what are the kind of the things that when I have X, Y, and Z done, I feel like myself.
Yep.
It's like so important to just you're right. It's school is your spouse, but you're also connected to yourself. And like you're bringing you everywhere you go. So
Say that.
someone has to keep an eye on you. And that's your job. It's your responsibility. Advisor, your boss, your client, whoever, they're not tracking you. They're just unfortunately, and even if they are, they're not going to be able to see all the things like you if you're in touch with yourself, your body is gonna give you the sign. The body symptom. The body's gonna give you the symptom before things really reach the surface. So I don't know. Sometimes I tell people that depending on where they're at, they're like that get me, or sometimes I think it sounds a little woo woo, but your health like we mm-mm.
Well, the
Health
other
is
part
nothing to play
about that too, Jazz, is if they've been conditioned to just keep going and disconnect from the body and produce, 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 sometimes it's not until it's almost too late. They're on
right.
the verge of like a breakdown, failing, or what they
Mhm.
think is that, right? Like they think their life is in shambles. Like people used to, I'm not kidding. People used to be like, how are you? I'd be like, my life in shambles. And I would just keep going and smiling, like it's in shambles. But I'm here.
Here, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing
Seriously, one day at a time. And so, on the outside, it sounds really dope. Like, oh, you're a doctoral student and like at
yeah.
Howard. And it's like, I am, but then it's like, I am. Like, depending on the day is how I felt for sure. But yeah, those burnout signs, and some people they may even be diagnosed with a mental health disorder while in the program, even if it's just adjustment disorder, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
it's high stress. It's definitely high stress, lots of pressure. And if you don't have, I love what you were saying about your daily rituals. I had a therapist
Mhm.
that I worked with in the past, and we would talk about 4 daily do's. Like, what are those 4 things that you have to do every day that you can feel proud
Mhm.
of, feel good, that's gonna
Mhm.
like help you? Because I was like, that's so simple. And even as a
Mhm.
clinician, right? Like we know stuff, but like sometimes you need someone else to say, "Hey, yeah." And
I
so,
totally agree.
and that's easy. The 4 daily dues because it doesn't have to be a big thing. And so I was just like, okay. I just need to like move my body, eat something green, drink water, and take up space or an appropriate amount of space everywhere I go. And I was like,
I love that.
I can do that. And then you feel
Mhm.
accomplished because you know you've done that every day. And then it grew into 10 things. And then it just, yeah.
Mhm.
So it can grow and you can build on that. But when you're in this stress, it can feel like I already don't have time. And you're telling me to make more time.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I like about your 4 daily dues because they're it seems attainable.
Yeah.
There's a level of flexibility too, so depending on what your capacity is for the day, like, taking up space can mean something really different. I like that. I try to do this myself. I also talk to my clients about this too, is when you're let's say you're starting this 4 daily dues, how long do you wanna try this for? Because sometimes just getting started on something new can seem so overwhelming. It's like, "I'm making this lifetime commitment to do these 4 daily things." How about you try it for a month? Like, just how about you try it and just see how it feels, right? Like, kinda
Yeah.
scheduling in that reflection time, like, just get a little data, see how do you feel, reflect on it, and then you have, like, an out if you don't wanna do it, you don't have to do it anymore, but if it was great, maybe add more to it. So, I love that. I do, like, I'm a planner girly, so, like, every month there's a monthly kinda reflection that I'll do, and then every week I'm kinda tracking, like, "Okay, how we doing this week?" But it's so much like I said, so much more than just, like, what assignments are due, right? It's like, when am I gonna do something for me? Like, this week is looking heavy. I have all these therapy clients, I have these assignments, I have these I knew last semester, like, Wednesday through Friday are gonna kinda be hell. So, like, it just there's not a lot of wiggle room. This is gonna be hell. The weekend, things will slow down in some ways, but they'll pick up in other ways. So just kind of managing, like, for me, it's helpful to see the week on my planner, like,
Yeah.
full open, just, look at it and just, like, what's the distribution looking like?
Yes. Of
What
the
do I
energy. Yes.
totally, I'm such a visual person, so that has been really helpful for me, but, like, if that doesn't work, then it kinda comes to, like, well, then what would work for you? Like, I know I'm visual. Are you more audible? Like, are you more tactile? Like, what? Because figuring out how to create systems that are really unique for you, customized, because 'cause we're customized people, like,
Yes, we
like,
are.
so and just knowing, like, the willingness to try different things and the willingness to, like, it's not always gonna be the best, but
Right. You
we're
have to,
we're
and
okay.
that's one of those words that I encourage people to release. Best,
Mhm,
right, proper,
mhm,
some of those things
mhm.
that make you feel like creates that polarity, those
Yep,
binaries that cause that tension, that all or
yep.
nothing, because that can become a lot. And I kind of chuckled when you were like, you're making this lifetime commitment to these things. And I was like, you know what? That part didn't even really occur to me that yeah, because some of these things can become lifelong habits, and if you're
Mhm,
stressed, adding another thing does feel like a lifetime.
mm.
Man, you're really taking me back into, like, my state of mind when I was in the doc program, and I'm just 'cause yeah. So, what might be some of those other signs and signals that if someone loves or knows, is friends with supporting a doctoral student, that might be indicators that maybe they're not coping with this as healthily or, nearing burnout. What are some more of those other signs?
I would say really listening to what people are saying, right? Like, and, like, sometimes the sign might not be clear, but if you and this isn't I feel like this is a not an answer, but it is an answer at the same time. I'll give you an example. I feel like I was in a good space. I was talking to a peer who I met in, like, one of these doctoral writing groups, and they it was a goal that I wanted to accomplish, and I hadn't reached the goal, and I thought I was fine with it, but they could tell by the way I was speaking that I was being really harsh, like, I was being really hard on myself. It was almost like my inner honestly, I love my mama, but I sounded like my mama. Like, I was
That inner
sounding like my
critic.
mom
Uh-huh.
talking totally talking about my performance
Mm.
on this thing, and my friend was, like, very compassionate, like, a very compassionate response to the point that, like, my kinda antennas went up, like, "Why are you being so compassionate? Like, what am I saying that's causing you to be this way?"
You said, I'm not the client. What is that?
No, exactly. And then that was a good little check for me because I was like, sometimes it is really subtle because I am that high performing overachiever. I've always been like this, to kind of what you were saying earlier, where it's like the things that we would say, okay, these are signs of burnout. These have been traits that have allowed me to be really resilient to get to where I'm at. Like
Mhm.
being hyper focused, being driven by the anxiety, being a perfectionist, like all these, being really competitive, like these things have got me here. But the truth is you get to a point where it's just like, dang, you not allowing yourself no grace? Like, there's
No grace.
no grace. Like, it doesn't matter that, all these contextual factors, all these things out of your control, like, none of that matters. Like, I was supposed to get the job done. So, I would say for sure, like, not to beat a dead horse, but I would say for sure, listen to what people are saying about themselves, about their program, about their progress. But even to be able to listen, the person has to be connected. You have to be talking to someone. So sometimes a sign is isolation. Like if you check on your friends, like, if you know your friend is in a program, and I get it, and this is no shade, because it's something that you can't really understand unless you're in it, but
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have to truly understand to know that, like, your friend might need you to just nudge them. "How's it going? How are you doing? Do you wanna have space to, like, not talk about school and we could just connect as friends?" Like, I appreciate those invitations, from people in my life, so, yeah, listen to how we're talking, listen to how you're talking about and what you're focusing on. I feel like I'm rambling. I guess I'll land the plane here too. We do, I guess I can speak for myself and other people in my cohort. We do love feedback. But pay attention to where people are valuing the feedback. Like, are you as receptive and open to hearing the positive as you are the negative or the more critical comments? Because some of us, I might be telling myself a little bit, I want to hear what I didn't do right. I want to hear where I need to grow. I want to, yeah, it's nice that I did this part good. Okay, that's great. I had a strong goal. My research question was great. Tell me, but like sometimes for me, the positive get minimized and I'm like emphasizing like the negative, but it's just like they're both equally
You need the
important.
balance. Because how
It's
are you going
balance.
to get through? You have to receive the deposit to continue
Mhm,
to go through. Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
but this journey to you have to be willing to be critiqued.
Totally.
You have to. And especially your dissertation. This is not something that you can write and get no edits on. Like
Right,
you gonna
right.
get feedback.
Mhm,
So
mhm, mhm.
that's just something to prepare for. Now, are there any things that you would say might look slightly different with high achieving, high functioning individuals?
Slightly different terms of burnout.
Yeah.
Though, I guess the last thing I would add to this that might look different, I go back to pacing a lot. It kind of reminds me, and I don't want to conflate these 2 issues because I know they're not, but it does remind me a bit when you're working, how depression will look differently in, like, let's say, a Black woman
Yeah.
compared to, like, a white woman.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, when I even preparing for today, I was thinking, like, well, even me as a high achieving Black woman, and then I know that for us, when we're depressed, it could still look like over functioning. So then when I add in the, like, PhD part, it's I don't know how people can see this, but I can feel when my motor is running. I can feel if I instead of sleeping throughout the night, I'm thinking of deadlines or the first thing I do when I wake up is like, well, I want to get this abstract submitted or I'm behind. First off, I feel behind. Let me really, really well because we both social workers. I want to submit
Yes.
to CSWE. I feel behind on my proposal for CSWE that ain't even due till like March. So it's like we gotta things have to be put into perspective.
Yeah.
Like sometimes things are, it's so many competing demands and so everything takes time. I mean, especially when you're just starting, everything takes time because I haven't fully carved out like what is the gap where I don't have data yet. I'm not quite at the point where every time I'm writing something, I'm starting from scratch, but I still don't have like a really solid where I feel like this is a solid like frame so it's just child. We gonna
Mhm.
keep pushing, but it is okay to slow down, and not, but like I don't want to completely disconnect. Oh, I'm showing myself. I'm showing it.
Hey, and it's real, right? Because, like, as you were saying, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pray for you because you taking me back and bringing back all my memories. Um,
I could feel it. I
seriously.
think being aware of it. Let me pat myself on the back. sometimes I have these thoughts. I'm like, "Girl, that's wild. You wildin'." I appreciate that I can see it.
Yeah,
Like, I can't I could see it. I think, it would be different if I didn't see it, but I also, like, I can't for me, I can't I think it can drift into, like, avoidance if I'm not doing anything with the thought, if that makes sense. So it's some tension, right? Because it's
mhm,
like, I think complete burnout would be, like, this thing that's due, like, in March. I'm thinking about it now. I'm making it bigger. It's a stressor. I'm gonna avoid it. I'm gonna delay. I'm trying to not do that. Just but also find the balance. So just like I could do some things, but I can't do all the things. And also remembering that we have really good professors that can bounce ideas around. There's other people that have presented. There's other, so just for me remembering I'm not alone in this.
yeah,
And I appreciate what you're saying too, because oh, so this resonates. So you remember this? Okay, so I'm not alone. I'm not the first.
let
I
me
won't be
tell
the
you,
last.
I guess I didn't feel like I had people close to me that I could ask. You know what I mean? Like, but
Mm,
that's not true. That's not true. I knew people. I was over functioning because it was like I didn't have the time. I felt like to ask them. I had something to do. Instead of having that
mhm,
conversation, I could be getting something done. When that's
mhm.
one of those things that could have been a deposit, right? There were
Yeah.
some people I would talk to, but yeah, yeah.
You got me thinking though. I don't know if I wonder if that is burnout or is that a sign that you're on the road to becoming burned out?
I guess it would take more context, right? To
Probably.
really, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Look, now thinking back, I was like, child, I was on the road, probably went around it a couple times, visited, circled back.
No, because it's like because in one way we think burnout and it's just like, oh, you've completely just like but that's not like I think for us, like whether it's our gender, whether it's our race, whether it's our I guess these could all be factors.
Yep,
Okay, Dr. Applebatter, I see you. Come on now. It could be gender, it could be race, it could be the fact that you are in a PhD program, but it's just like the to just and I hear it even with some like people in my cohort, the idea of like quitting, it's like even slowing down sometimes I think feels like a quit or
yeah.
like even like but it's not you're not
That's what I went
quitting,
through.
like it's an adjustment in your process, things that maybe are not going according to like the plan you thought, but I think, you're moving forward, but it could be burnout or at least flirting with that area, or flirting, I guess, with that territory of burnout. I guess maybe like ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
something else that I realized in having this conversation is that some of it is identity because
Hmm.
you're a high achieving academic person. A lot of times the identity in school go together. And
Yep.
so separating that. So what role do you think pressure, perfectionism, and or identity play in sustaining?
There is a lot of pressure. We talked about earlier, like the internal piece. There are different ways I think external pressure plays a role. It's clear that there's a high level, like academic standard that you need to hit, which adds pressure. We're also like when you're in your class, sometimes I feel like I could feel like different times of the semester, you can like feel the energy. So it's like I may have felt like I did the best self care. I'm very zen. I'm very mellow. I've done all my things, and then I walk into a room, and it's like it is a pressure box in here. And now I'm like what's happening? Like, do I rise to this level? Although I felt walking in, I felt my level was chill, but am I right? Like what happens? And for me, if I'm not mindful of that, that can loop around to, like I'm not doing enough. Like I need to like yeah, I tried to chill here, but this ain't the time to chill. I gotta hit the gas. So it could push
Mm.
it could push me there if I'm not aware of it. And then to the piece of identity, my topic has evolved. I came in and there's professional, but there's also personal that reasons that got me here. And I'm very interested in qualitative research, and qualitative talk a lot about reflexivity, and you do a lot of like assignments around like, well, who are you, and like how is your identity like shaping the question, and
Mhm.
just your whole approach to the phenomena. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, okay, as I'm looking at queer Black love, I'm a queer person, I'm in a queer relationship, and I'm like, I'm not the only like, there's gaps, but it's not on me to fill all of this. Like, just kinda even remembering that too, it's like, I deserve rest too. I'm a human. Like, if I'm feeling like I'm getting burned out, I'm not helping my community by just, you kinda, like, barging my way through, and then I'm also, like, have to remember, like, just as I have strength and I have value, other people in my community do too, so it's not all on my who am I? Like, it's not all on my back. Just kinda remembering, like, I'm human because sometimes in these spaces, we spend so much time thinking about something so specific, so narrow. You know that you are creating something that hasn't been done before, and, like, I could you can easily hype yourself into feeling like it's all on me, and, like, that is not helpful for burnout. If you're telling yourself it's all on you, then yeah, when you're having all these demands, it could totally feel like there's no one I can help, no one can help me, no one knows about this. It's me, it's me, it's me. And it's just like we're in community with really talented, amazing people that want to put those deposits in, want to encourage us, want to see us grow. We started this conversation off reminiscing on those giants that we are really like in our lineage, right? Like, so it's just like, I can't forget that. I can't forget that. So this is like, yeah, I'm so grateful for this conversation at this particular time in my journey.
Let me tell you something. I still have to realize, I'm like, Jeannie, you are an adjunct lecturer at Howard University. You are somebody's professor. Like, there was one day
You
I was
are.
like, how did I get here? But then it was like, I know, but it was just like, it's real. Like,
It's real.
you are
It's real.
shaping the next generation of social work
Hmm.
scholars.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It is. And it's
You gotta
just,
sit in it. You gotta like sit in it. You do gotta sit in it. I'm not trying to point pump the message of like, oh no, no, stand in that because that is it's big. It's especially at that university in this particular profession with the history of social work and then to being able to shape black social workers coming in with the black perspective to come and really do transformative work no matter where they fall, macro, micro, like wherever they fall, like yeah, I to teach is such a it's like such a blessing to just be able to connect with people in that. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And then they as we pour into them, they pour back into.
yeah.
It's exciting.
Yep,
It's really
yep.
exciting.
This past semester was one of my best semesters and just like how invested they were. I was like, okay. Cause like one of my classes, there was only like 6 people. The other class had like 18 or 19. My
Mm,
class with 6 had just as much energy as my 19 class. And so I was like, "Ugh, how is this gonna go? Is there not enough people? Like, am I gonna have to carry this?" But
mm,
they 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 loved it. And I also feel like I hit my own sort of stride with the
yeah,
material too, but it's such an honor. It really is, and it's a big deal. Like,
yeah, it's real.
yeah, I was like, I'm sitting in it, and at the same time, I'm just like, wow. I just remember looking at my professors and like, they're so amazing. They're so amazing. Like, you did what and what?
Mhm,
You work with
mhm,
who? You created and
mhm,
established what? You published
mhm,
what?
mhm, mhm,
What? You were a
mhm.
presidential appointee? Like all
Come on
types of
now.
things.
And then the way they just, like, see us, pour into us, and then it just so many things that I
Mhm.
either didn't think were imaginable or didn't even I didn't even know these things existed, so I couldn't even dream about them because your dreams so much are tied to what you're exposed to, so to come here and then be exposed so much, and then, yeah, for professors to be like, "We see something in you," and I'm like, "Well, what you see?" Because I don't know that I've really seen it, but just kinda stepping out,
Right, be look
like,
me?
you like, me exactly, like, me, like, I'm just, I'm just here taking my notes, trying to do the best I
I'm
can.
just trying to push through. Yeah, but they
Yeah,
they
mhm,
see it.
mhm.
Man, 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 man. This is actually really good. I didn't think I was gonna be reflecting this much, but I guess I needed this conversation as much as you did today.
Come on now.
Okay, so what are some, and this is similar but a little more nuanced. But what are some
Okay.
symptoms or signals that someone may need more than rest?
Earlier you mentioned context. I think context really matters, right?
Mhm.
So let's say let's go I guess, back to your example where you needed to lower your course load.
Mhm.
If you did that and things are still not there's no the expectation is you're gonna reduce this and your symptoms will improve. If that doesn't happen, it may not I don't wanna say it may not be school, but it may be more than just that, right? Like, where are you noticing these issues? Is it that you're experiencing issues at work? Are you experiencing issues in your personal relationships? Are you having issues at school? Are you having, you know, issues with yourself? Like, what's happening with what are other behaviors looking like? Are we using more substances, different substances? Like, are we not sleeping at all? Are we sleeping all the time? Like what else? I get really curious how like what else is happening beyond school. And then like what else have you been trying? Like, are you already trying the therapy route? Is therapy not helping? Is that a fit with this particular therapist? Is it something like what is it more than just therapy? Do we need to start looking at medication? Like, I having a lot more questions, because it's not always I'll put it this way. Sometimes you get into school and things start happening and it exposes stuff that was already there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And a social
it
work
can
program will
expose
definitely do it.
100%, 100%, especially depending on what your funding is looking like other life stressors. Like some people, you get into school and you say, my life is blowing up. Like I got issues with this, I got issues with that guy. And then it's like, it might not be because you can't do it. It might not be because like in terms like capacity or not capacity, excuse me, like cognitive like intelligence. Like it may not
Right.
be like intelligence or lack of effort or lack of trying. It could just be that you don't have the bandwidth. Like just it could be the school just was an additional and school will make you vulnerable. Like school is going to make you vulnerable. So if you got other stuff going on too, it may be that you need to some things may need to get adjusted and you
For
might need to
sure.
expand your treatment team for sure.
Excellent, excellent. So then, what do you think, or why do you think a lot of times doctoral students might delay seeking help until things feel
Mm.
unmanageable?
Well, that's the thing, right? We're so used to managing things, that it's just exactly what you said. It's just like if you so I don't want to call it the struggle, but I mean it's like you're just in the struggle. You're so earlier I made the thing about the tunnel. I said I heard there's a light, but sometimes I can't even figure out how to get out of this thing. It's just like it can feel like you cannot stop. You've gone too far to turn around and go back. You're
Oh,
out
for
here on your
sure.
own. You just gotta get it done. But it's yeah, it gets hard. And then even when I said too, we're so passionate about our research. And now you get to a point where you're like, oh, I found a gap. Like this is not, it doesn't exist. I care a lot about this. No, like earlier I mentioned, we started with individuals, but then when by the time I get to communities and organizations, I'm looking at these theories and I'm putting those theories kind of crossing them over with like my topic issue, different kind of intervention. Just you get excited. You're like, I can do something that can really impact someone's life, my community. So where it's just like you don't want to stop. And I think that makes it really hard for us sometimes to figure out like how do you reconcile the things that need to be reconciled without feeling like you let down your dream or let down your community or let down it's just it can be really really hard. I've seen people struggle with it and it's not an easy struggle to watch. And then as an outsider, it's like who am I? How can I tell someone else what to do or how can I gauge what someone else's capacity is? It's so individual. So we gotta sometimes I think it takes a little humility and we some of us struggle with that. We're
Yeah.
just so used to being like on top. So it's hard.
Yep. Absolutely. Just, I think bringing back up, like you were saying too, that self compassion.
Hmm.
Like, what would you say to if one of your colleagues were saying this about themselves or speaking, like, how would you speak to them? Right. Like, and you got to give yourself some of that too. And trying to hide, right? I feel like this is where, no, I believe this is where sometimes that fear or shame of being seen as incapable
Yep.
because you can't do this one thing or you're having a hard time, where that can really take over because it's also a competitive environment. And then depending
Hmm.
upon which program you're in, some people have even more competition. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it felt more familial to me in social work, but I've heard other people talk about their experiences, and it's not that at all. And I think too, it felt more familial because I did my MSW, and
Same.
other people in my cohort, they didn't have the connection that I had. And so sometimes it was hard for me to relate to some of the things they were going through. I'm like, just go talk to them, just go do this. And they're
Yep.
like, well, you're Dean Crew's protege, like you'll be taken care of. And I was like, what?
It comes yeah. Yeah. No, it comes with, like it's like yes, and that comes with a different level of, like, stress that, like, some people
Yes.
wouldn't get. No, totally, totally, totally. As someone who got their master's degree from the program, I can understand the kind of, like, why it would be great to be in that position and why it would be really challenging in some ways to be in that position, for sure. I would also I say, like, it's an advantage in some ways for me that I got my master's from this program
Mhm.
because I do see although I hold my professors in high regard, I know that they're human,
Yes.
and they like, and I've been around I was like I said, I started the program 2015, so it's been 10 years that these relationships, like, we've known each other for this long, but then I think, like, if I when I was an undergrad, although I was a McNair scholar, I didn't feel very supported from my mentor. I didn't feel like I fit well in my research lab, and I was having a lot of family like, my mom was sick at the time, my dad there was just things happening, and I was much younger.
Yeah.
I wasn't at school where felt I didn't feel familial, so there were things that I didn't disclose, but also no one ever asked me, "Are you okay?" No one ever said, like, "We noticed that your progress is, like, slipping, like, what's going?" So I know that that's a really common experience for a lot of, marginalized people in higher academia. And that although we know that there's this familial aspect of our program, I know that sometimes people come through the door and they just haven't had that experience and they don't always feel so like trusting of the system as
Oh,
like
yeah.
I would because I had experiences, right? So I get that and I feel for folks like that because I can sometimes see how they might be in some ways not setting themselves up for like really like accessing the support
Right.
that is like there. But I get it. Like there's so many bad experiences that I've heard, whether it's other programs or other schools that I get why people are feeling guarded, feeling protective,
Yeah.
not feeling like they can ask for help, feeling like if they show the vulnerability that things are happening, that could be perceived as like weakness and lack of like it's just
Yep. It's a lot of judgment.
it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
even as you were saying something, another way, right, that I think it can be noted, but this would be observed by a professor that something else might be going on that needs more than rest is in your writing. So you just reminded
Mm,
me as you were talking. I was finishing up the MSW, had already been accepted into the PhD, and my grandmother passed away. Child, I was a
mm,
wreck. And so one of my professors called me to their office to talk about my paper. And they were like, yeah, I
mm.
called you for the paper, but what's going on?
Yep.
Because this is not how you write. This isn't like they
Mhm,
could see it wasn't
mm.
my normal standard, my normal quality of work. And so that was an indicator that
I like that.
something else is going on.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So
That's
they
a really
get to know you through your writing. And I think we take that for granted sometimes that our writing can also be a
mhm.
marker of something else going on.
That's real. That's
Yeah.
real. That's real.
Yeah, shifting gears a little bit. So, what would you say choosing yourself looks like in the
Mm,
midst of all of these academic demands?
I love that. Oh, I really wanna quote this, but I don't know that my brain is gonna remember it.
Just do the best you can. Give us the essence.
Come on now, Essence. I'm thinking about Afrocentricity and I'm thinking about the African worldview, and they talk about, like, affective knowledge and, like, that's, like, valid, right? Like, how your feeling is real. And this comes up a lot even with my therapy clients because we live in like the dominant kind of I guess like the dominant belief, the dominant kind of structure with society can have you invalidate yourself oftentimes where it's
Uh-huh.
just like, no, I don't like the way this feels, but I'm being told that like my feeling doesn't matter or I need to like suck it up and push through. So like choosing myself is like I feel a way, that's a real feeling. I don't need to
Yep.
try to like feeling or change the feeling. Like, this is a real feeling, and this feeling is information for me to use. And when I use this information in this small way, I am taking care of myself. So, like, I try hold on to that because I don't always have time or even money to go get the nails done or get the hair or do the thing. Like, and even for me, sometimes I might have the resources, but I don't want to spend my time at the nail salon. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to rush to this appointment for self care. And that is okay. Like, that is totally okay. I liked what you said about taking space.
Mhm.
I feel like that's a great way to honor yourself. I also think that, like, my one of my mentors said this before in supervision. I'm telling him about a case, and he wants to know, "How do you feel?" And I'm like, "What you talking about me? I'm trying to get help with this case." But his point is, like, your feelings always matter. Like, when you're in the room with your client, your feelings matter. When I'm working on my assignment, my feelings matter. I realize there's certain times where it's really, really hard for me to write because it's too late. I'm too tired. I'm starting to feel down. I'm starting to feel depressed. I'm starting to feel negative. Like, as I'm writing, I'm like, I don't want to be up right now. Okay, I could choose myself by, like, respecting that this ain't the time I want to do this. I may have to make an adjustment somewhere else. Now I'm just gonna wake up earlier. Like, I'm gonna just do this in the morning, start the day, kind of, so there's these like negotiations, but I would still own
Yes.
that as like I trust myself. Like, I don't have to do like I don't everyone could say they were up till 4 working and this, that, the third, and that is great. My lifestyle a little different. I can't do that. I don't wanna do that. I would rather just Imma choose me if I can do it.
Yeah,
Imma take my agency. Self-determination is real.
it is. And like what you said, some people, the struggle is a badge of honor sometimes for people. I was
Yeah.
up till 4 and you crazy. I was asleep. 'Cause that's
I
what
was
I needed.
asleep.
Like,
I need
seriously.
rest.
And I think what you were saying, it makes me think about when I ask my clients certain things or when they're, like, balancing all of this and they're not giving themselves self-compassion, I ask them a question, "What does your current reality support?"
Ooh, I love that.
And it's a simple
I love that.
question, but it helps shift the priorities, right? Like
Yeah,
what can you actually do right now? Like,
yeah.
and trying to force yourself to write or read and you're reading the same sentence over and over again, or you're
Yep,
deleting a paragraph, you can't get past the outline portion, like just stop.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
stop. Like it's not a good use of time. Then you're beating yourself up. You don't feel good. You don't feel accomplished. But then it's just like a negative loop. So you don't want to quit, but then you don't want to recognize that you really do just need a break.
totally, totally,
You're battling with
totally.
yourself and then you've burned the energy when you could have just taken the nap and then got back up and been in a better mood or go for a
Mhm,
walk around the block, splash some water on your face, get up, stretch, do something to move,
totally.
move that energy around or just
And sometimes, like, like, the therapist me,
mhm,
I know that. Like, I know that's what needs to happen,
mhm,
but to that piece about, like, being real about just how I feel, sometimes there is resistance. Like, I know, like, I'm reading, I'm nodding off, I'm over it, I don't wanna do this, but there's some part of me that wants to just get it done, but there's other part of me that's like, "Yeah, I wanna get it done, but like you said, the current reality is not supporting this." And sometimes for me, there's a little I don't know if it's necessarily sadness, but there is a little, like, I wish I could go further, like, I wish I had more in the tank right now. And it's okay. It's okay, like, expanding, right? Part of me really wants to do this. Majority of me is like, "Girl, we can't." And the part of me that wants to do it, I might feel a little way about not getting it done, and I'm not trying to push that feeling away either. It's like, yeah,
mhm,
I would have appreciated. So, like, where I've learned is it's easier for me to continue something than it is for me to start brand new. So, like, I
mm,
will respect that. Oh, yeah, if I open up the book and I read the first 2 paragraphs,
start
it's
it.
so much easier. I started, and I love checking things off my to-do list, so I will check. I may have the goal in the morning may have been to read chapter 3, for example. Maybe I got through my other things, and instead of reading all of chapter 3, maybe I read 3 pages in chapter 3. If I read them pages and I understood what I was talking about, I will mark the next day, the new box is gonna say, "Finish chapter 3." It's not do all of it because I already did some of it. So
Progress.
breaking things down for me has been really helpful, and, like, I did it. I was productive. I did something. I'm good. I'm going to rest, and that little part of me that's like, "Oh, girl, go further," can chill. I feel like that itch got scratched. I'm ready to disconnect, wake up in the morning, get back to it, and I appreciate starting my day, completing a task, and starting brand new.
I like that because that's a good example of a middle path. Because some
Mhm,
people are like, "I
mhm.
didn't finish it." What did you do? Like, just do something towards it. Yeah, that's really good.
Moving towards it. We're moving
Yeah.
forward.
So what are or have been the roles of support, boundaries, and faith play in your journey?
Ooh, okay, I'll start with faith. I was raised Christian, and my grandfather transitioned, when I was in my first summer of my MSW program. My papa passed away,
Okay, sorry to hear
and
about Papa.
now rest in peace, papa. He was a good man. My papa was a good man, and, uh and my grandma too, actually, she passed away when I was younger, and she gave me my folks is from the South, very, very Christian.
Mm, which state?
My grand Arkansas.
Okay, okay.
And my let's see, Imma come back to this. Now you got me curious, but I'm trying to get this thought out. Um, so my grandma actually gave me a religious book around sex when I was a kid. It was not pro sex. It was not pro sex. It was a lot of things, but I've grown the time when I got it, I didn't know what she was talking about. I was, like, very young. I was like, "What is this?" But as I've gotten older, I still have it, and I'm able to understand, like, where she was coming from with that in a way that, like, I wouldn't have got when I was a kid, and I so appreciate it because when I'm reflecting on kind of what got me here, I have so much gratitude to my ancestors and just understanding how they made sense of human sexuality from where their position and what they had access to and where their values were and how they did their best to, like, train us and put us point us in the right direction as they understood it to be. And for me, I lean into my Christianity, but I also really appreciate ancestor veneration and just being in community. I think about my ancestors daily. I light candles for them every day. I am, to the best I can be, trying to respect them and also
Mhm.
trying to know them more and build relationships with them in this way. And it's sometimes I'm just doing the thing. I'm like, what would my grandma say about this? Or what would have been helpful for my auntie to know about this? Or just what like looking for the kinda nudges from them of, like, where should I take this? Like, where should I be looking? So, it just, because it's so much more than just me, and remembering
Yeah.
that helps me, like, reaffirm that it's not just me. Like, I can get questions answered from those that have transitioned. I can get questions answered from a Dean Crew or a Dean or a Dr. Whitaker or a Dean Hussein. I can get questions answered from a Dr. Simpson. Like, I we have all these connections. So, the spirituality and the faith part has been really, really helpful and transformative in a way that, like, I'm happy I'm in school now. I'm happy that didn't work out for me earlier. I don't think I would have been thinking about things this way if I went when I was younger.
And that's the thing about this program. People, not this program, but I think doctoral education in general, you have to do a lot of thinking about thinking.
Mhm,
Why?
mm,
Like, why are you thinking what you're thinking?
mhm,
And we're just taught to think more deeply, and it becomes like
mhm,
part of your norm and how you process different, like what I was saying earlier. But that's yeah, I love what you're saying about that connection. And as you were saying
mhm.
that, it's just a reminder, like, you are someone's answer prayers. Like, people prayed for you before they knew you.
Right, right.
I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. To be able to make it this far academically from folks that, like, were not even literate just a couple of generations ago,
Mhm.
and then to be researching something, where I'm looking at liberation and sexuality and us just affirming who we are, who we've always been, and being able to stand just fully in our power, where just a few generations ago they tried to reduce us to chattel and commodities and just equating our sexuality to produce and commerce. And in that, it's been so much trauma, so I think about my ancestors a lot, and, like, I have no ill will, no judgment for how they lived and how they tried to, like, usher me in the direction they wanted, our generations to go because, they're coming from a whole different perspective, so it's just like, yeah, the freedom and the things that I'm writing about and the things I'm thinking about, like, I believe they are proud, and I get confirmation, and sometimes I get confirmation that I don't know what is the girl talking about? But I I am just so grateful for those that paved the way. Yeah, just continuing to learn from them and then thinking about the generations that will come after us. And it's like yes, I pray for those folks too, because they're going to come and they're going to be doing something phenomenal. I don't know how we couldn't. Like they're gonna do
Yeah.
it's just like I believe that. So I we've always been here, we ain't going nowhere,
Mhm.
and it gives us something to be rooted in because as I alluded to earlier, it's so much that has happened in the past 12 months. It's been so and that's me being nice, just limiting it to
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
months. We could go back yeah, but just being grounded in something is so real.
Whole other conversation.
Facts.
Let's see. So we're nearing wrap up. How can doctoral students honor ambition without self abandonment?
You said ambition?
Yes. How can they honor ambition without self abandonment? Yeah. I was like, ooh, that's good.
I like that. The first thing that comes to my mind, Imma rock with it, is who are you doing it for?
Say more.
So, like, I asked the question, right? Because you can be ambitious about a lot of things, but is this for like external validation, external approval? Is it to hit someone else's goal? Is this your goal? Like, and once you get to whatever this accomplishment is, how are you going to feel about it? How are you going to feel about yourself? Did you let yourself down in any way? If you did let yourself down, how do you come back to self and repair that breakdown? Because we talk a lot about repairing relational disconnect externally, but I would turn that back to like you can betray yourself and you can also come back and repair that, right? So it's just I don't want to make it all doom and gloom, but I would definitely start with who are you doing that for? Especially now, because professors will tap you and say, I want you on this, or well, I got this opportunity here, or did you apply for this? And it's like, no, wait a minute. Like, I can't do all of these things once. Like, you can't. So who are you doing it for? I think is a good place to start just so that you don't unintentionally abandon yourself in your journey.
That's so good. And as you said that, it was a memory came up for me when I was feeling a little stuck or stagnant, had slowed down. I had one of those, those boards and you can, write a custom message in it. And
Mhm.
I grabbed one, or actually, maybe I got it in like a white elephant gift exchange or something like that. But I was like, it was perfect. And so I changed the letters to say, remember why you started.
I like that.
Yeah, remember why you started. And so that encompasses what you said and then like,
Mhm.
so much more to keep moving because you just like, yeah, I could just go make money. I don't have to be
Mhm.
stressed like
Mhm.
this, right? And I'm sure many doc students might feel that way. And especially in your case, already being a practicing clinician.
No. Uh, we not gonna
Yeah.
cut the tape again. No, it's true because I know how I was living before I was in school. But also, as
Yep.
I said, if I don't let me not. I don't want to have revisionist history because like it was cool in some ways, and other ways I really wasn't. I
Absolutely.
wasn't happy. I wasn't happy, but sometimes this semester I was like, was it really that bad? I mean, the deposits was hitting. I
That's
wasn't.
comfortability. But like you said, revisionist history for sure, because it's because you had gotten used to it. It was familiar. And then there's certain things
Yep.
that you're like, oh, but this was consistent. So really it's,
Yep.
that adjustment. And that is definitely that's one of those things.
Uh-huh.
I was
Uh-huh. Mhm.
I was poor.
Girl.
Because I didn't get my license until after. So I went from the MSW
Mhm.
straight into PhD. And like I said, with all the grieving and stuff I was going through, the last thing I wanted to do was study for an exam. I needed
I
time
understand.
to like rest, do nothing, enjoy
Mhm.
life before this crazy PhD journey started, right? That I didn't really know what it was going to be, but I was like,
Mhm.
I want it. I'm supposed to go here. This is what I'm supposed to do. And if I don't do it now, I'm not gonna come back and do it. That was something that I knew. So
Mhm.
that was different. And then looking back, I was like, yeah, girl, if you took that exam, you could have made some decent money, but I wasn't that it wasn't that bad. At some point I did get a contract case management position from my field placement organization. They actually started a different
Wow.
program. And so I was like, I worked part-time. They were paying me about 50K. So that was good for a while. But at first I was on that GA stipend.
No, 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 no,
Thank you,
no,
God,
that's different.
for getting me
No, that
through.
made it, made it, you made it, you made it. You did that hard way, it's the hard way.
Yeah,
But you made it though, and that's it's helpful to see the light on the other side because yeah. Fortunately, everything isn't about money, but sometimes
it
it can feel like it
matters.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it helps.
that's why we
It
lost 2
helps.
people. I told you my cohort of 5 went down to 3. 2 of them, it was about money.
Right.
1, she thought she would get more funding, and the other was like, "I can't sustain this class schedule. I have to work."
Mhm, the class schedule's
Yep.
wild. No, we were at 4. We started at 4, we were at 4 at the end of last semester, but I'll be honest, I don't know what's gonna happen in a couple of weeks. I'll follow back up with you. I know I'll be there. I ain't trying to be shy, I just know I know I'll be out there.
It's
Uh,
real though. It really is real. Okay. So, if you could leave our audience with one powerful truth to help them to rise and thrive, what would it be?
one powerful truth. Ooh, Imma double back to something I said. It's that you matter. And I'll tell you why I'm doubling back to it, especially as therapists and depending on how you were trained to be a therapist, you part of your journey may have been to like detach from yourself when you're with the client, focus on the client, a lot of I don't want to say blank face, but just, if your stuff comes up, the old school way is like your stuff shouldn't even be coming up. Your stuff should have been at the door. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's not even realistic. Really what's the word? Not disempowering, but, it's not authentic.
Yep.
It's not authentic.
Yep.
Just like your now when I say your feelings always matter, that doesn't mean you're always right,
Come
and it
on.
doesn't mean that other people's feelings don't matter, but, like, how you feel truly, truly does matter, and that information is really, really powerful and can help illuminate some things for you and really help you make connections or things maybe don't feel clear. Because for sometimes you might be thinking too much, and especially us intellectualizers, like, okay, there's a part of you that's intellectualizing. What else is happening? Like, is it just 100% intellectualization? Or are there other? Is there joy? Is there fear? Is there uncertainty? Is there doubt? Don't shy away from the scary feelings that you might have or the feelings that might make you feel like you're not capable. Like, do not shy away from them. Be aware of what's happening. Reach out if you need to reach out, whether that's friendship, professional, whatever, because like you matter. And like we need like wherever you are in your journey, you're needed. Like you're needed here. And I just we're like I think I'm not trying to I don't want to be too heavy, but it's just the truth. I think that like that's just something that I think about time and time when I'm talking. Like I said, the message resonated with me. I'm supervising an intern. I talked to her about that as she's starting her clinical journey. When I teach, talk to students about it. It's just no matter where you are, you matter. You matter.
That's so good. That was so good. Well, thank you so
Mhm.
much, Jazz. This was so good. I know this is helping somebody, inspiring somebody who's, on the cusp of making that decision. Maybe they're soon going to get their acceptance letter into a doctoral
Oh,
program,
yeah.
maybe even the Howard University School of Social Work, where they're hearing this and, they can take some things that they can apply, help them through their journey. And this has essentially made us a resource, like a permanent resource that can be used for people
Mhm.
that are going through this. And Jess, I'd like to invite you to come back um, for February so we can talk more about relationships.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like what you're thinking.
Uh-huh.
I would love
Uh-huh.
to. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
So y'all are
That
going to
sounds
see
lit.
the future Dr. Northcross again in a few months during our Month of Love series for
Oh,
February.
come on, series.
Yeah. So thank you again for coming. This was an absolute pleasure. And I'm like, every time I see you, it's a good time. And I'm like, why haven't we really actually like hung out for real?
Girl, we don't talk offline because when I
Exactly.
tell you it was you and a few other students, I'm just like that always stood out to me, and I'm just like, I timing probably, but we're here now. It's all you have been like in my mind. You're like my big social work sis. 'Cause
Oh,
I was coming on. You were just I just remember you being so kind and I was like, yeah. And I remember when you were starting the program. We'll talk offline about this. We had a conversation then. I think we've had two conversations now
okay.
that I'm thinking
Okay.
about it.
Listen, girl, I'll be on here telling all my business just so you know. But you don't got to tell all yours.
I received that. I received that.
All right, well, audience, this is where we shift to you, where you are going to get your call to action, your reflection and your affirmation. So I want you to reflect. Where might I be confusing exhaustion with devotion or productivity with worth? And then I want you to take action. I want you to take a grounded and compassionate step. And that would look like identifying one area where rest, support, or a boundary is needed and to name it without judgment. And then choose one supportive action this week, whether that's a therapy session, an honest conversation, scheduling an appointment, or some type of spiritual practice for daily dues or ritual like we talked about in today's episode. And then release the belief that endurance alone equals success and replace it with intentional alignment. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with your affirmation. I do not have to be depleted to be devoted. I am allowed to pursue excellence while honoring my humanity. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole. Make sure you shop the merch.
I love that.
We have the embroidered collection available and our crew necks, our sweatshirts, and our skull caps. We have multiple colors. Check them out. There are things for you to wear that are Rise and Thrive year round. And if this episode has blessed you, make sure you leave a comment, leave a positive review for us, 5-star rating wherever you're taking the pod, and also share it with someone who you think that this might bless, who this might uplift, or be a deposit for them. We need more Black doctoral scholars in this world producing original research and to just do their part in making this world a better place. So we'll see you next week. Thank you again, Jazz, for joining me today on Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole.
Thank you.